I'm Linett Kamala, and I want to talk to you about why I believe Carnival is a powerful force for healing, and how each year, over the August bank holiday weekend in London, on these very streets of Ladbroke Grove, I come together with others to experience a shared celebration of what unites us as human beings. And that shared experience? The spectacular Hill Carnival. So you could call me an artist, an educator, a DJ, a champion of community arts. I was born in Harlesden, London, the youngest of 6 children to Jamaican parents, who came to the Ladbroke Grove area and settled in the 1950s. So you might be wondering, why would my parents leave the beautiful, sunny, lush green, blue skies, white sandy beaches, mangroves growing in abundance, to come to England to move into what at that time had some of the worst housing in London? Well, they were part of the group that was invited between 1948 and 1971 by the British government to help to rebuild the country following the Second World War. And also there was a severe labour shortage in the country. They became known as the Windrush generation. Unfortunately, they did not receive a warm welcome, but more about that later on. I was what you might call an angry child. Just look at my clenched fist in that picture. And I did everything I could to get thrown out of school, but not at that age, when I was about 10 years old, a bit older. But I was good at art. And one day, following a major showdown with my class teacher in front of all of my classmates, I finally got sent to the head teacher's office, Miss Martin Dye. As I waited outside her office, I looked up, and I saw, in a glass frame, one of my paintings which had gone missing months before. Before I could get angry about it, she called me in. And rather than exclude me, which is what I thought was going to happen, she said, "Linett, you're going to do the entire backdrop, make all the costumes, do all the props, and make the masks for the forthcoming school production of Toad of Toad Hall, and you're not going to be in any lessons." I was just elated. And it was the first time I was given an opportunity to escape through the arts. And also, I was seen in a new positive light through the arts and because of the arts. But fast forward to 2009, when I experienced a massive emotional breakdown, and at the time I was diagnosed as clinically depressed. The pain was so great, I didn't want to be here anymore. I'd lost interest in everything. I pushed aside everything that I loved, including all things Carnival. But gradually, over the years, through the support of those around me, I started to reconnect with art again. And I started to use it as an outlet, a way to express how I was feeling, my emotions, a way I could explore where I didn't have words. And gradually but slowly, I started to feel happier, and I moved from just surviving to thriving. I started to be optimistic. I started to look forward to the future again. I started to have some goals and dreams. And one of those was to take part in the Rio de Janeiro Carnival in Brazil. And I did it. And that's me. And we won that year as well. And I was so elated, so happy. It got me thinking, what if my participation, ever since childhood, in the carnival arts had actually been essential to my well-being? What about if it was a way for me to connect with my ancestors, a way for me to celebrate and share my culture? And what if it was truly keeping me optimistic about the future? I began to wonder, what if carnival arts provided us with confidence through music, through costume, through movement, and a way to be whoever we wanted to be? A space where we could acknowledge our ancestors and celebrate our elders. A space where we would only be limited by the possibilities of our imagination. And what if it was a place where the values of love, unity, and inclusion truly existed? So I started to think, what if we viewed carnival arts as medicine? What if carnival arts could heal? Which brings me back to 1948, when those new arrivals, like my parents, came from the Caribbean at the invitation of the British government, and unfortunately they did not receive a warm welcome. Instead, they were met with racism, and in some cases violence, and intolerance. And by 1958, there were race riots, some not far from here and in other parts of the country. And in 1959, Trinidadian human rights activist Claudia Jones organised the first Caribbean indoor carnival at St Pancras Town Hall in London. Tragically, in the same year, Keslow Coltrane, an Antiguan aspiring lawyer and carpenter and local resident of Notting Hill, died tragically from a racially motivated attack. Much was done to try and ease the tensions in the area at that time. And in the mid-1960s, local resident Ruan Luzlet, a Londoner of Native American and Russian descent, had an idea. She had a dream. And this was her dream. I could see the streets thronged with people in brightly coloured costumes. They were dancing and following bands, and they were happy. Some faces I recognised, but most were crowds, men, women, children, black, white, brown, but all laughing. But it was 3 a.m. in the morning, and Ruan's husband told her to go back to sleep. But nonetheless, she set about turning her dream into a reality, and she came up with the idea to organise a small children's street fair, which would be a way of bringing the community together to heal. And she enlisted the support of Trinidadian steel pan artist Russ Henderson and his band members. And what began as a small local children's fair morphed into the Notting Hill Carnival that we know today. And it has become the biggest community-led event on the planet with a distinctive Caribbean flavour. It's estimated each year to the London economy alone, it brings in up to £100 million. I mean, that's like me giving you enough money to buy 10 houses on Ladbroke Grove in 1 year. That's all right. You're welcome. It's become an iconic British event. The numbers, you have up to 1.5 to 2 million people over that August bank holiday weekend attend. And that's like the equivalent of the entire population of Trinidad and Tobago coming to this part of West London. But no photographs, audio, or moving film can really capture the true essence of Carnival. It literally happens in real time. Pretty much everyone who's been there can remember, they can recall their very first experience. And I know for me, that was probably around about the age of 5, being on my father's shoulders, and coming over that bridge at Ladbroke Grove, and just seeing for as far as my eyes could see what looked like a sea of people. And they were just all happy. And I can still now recall the energy and the excitement in the air. And I knew from then I was a small part of something much bigger. So if you have never been to the Notting Hill Carnival before, what can I tell you? Well, the day starts with the Juve, which happens just before sunrise, rooted deep in African spirituality, where the participants cover themselves in mud, oil, and paint. And then you have Sunday, which is Children's Day, where the children parade their beautiful costumes, which they have spent the whole year working on in those carnival camp masses, cheered on by up to now 4 generations of family. And then you might catch or hear the beautiful, witty, sharp songs of the Calypsonian kings and queens with their call and response lyrics. And how about the spectacular, stunning 66-plus masquerade bands with their beautiful costumes and their dancers and performers, as well as the Brazilian bands as well with their powerful drums. And then you have Dirty Mass, with the flag waving, the whistle blowing, the make some noise from the 100-plus acts on those live stages. Carnival is a place where you can be whoever you want to be. Doesn't matter about your background, where you've come from. You can just be you. You can just be whoever you want to be. And the smell and the taste of those 300+ stalls serving delicious Caribbean cuisine, and hearing your favorite tune amplified over giant speaker boxes by the 36+ static sound systems. Unbelievable. Just an experience to behold. And feeling that bass of that beeline in your chest. Singing along to your favorite tune with thousands, or standing in silence with millions to remember those who lost their lives at Grenville, Carnival Hills. And what's all the more incredible is, despite all the challenges, despite the arguments, despite the tired rhetoric, or shall we move it to the park, issues around funding and the ongoing tensions of who owns and who controls Carnival, each year on these streets, rich in the history of activism, the streets are reclaimed by the people, and long may that continue. So what if Notting Hill Carnival was more than a street party? What if it was a tool for resistance, born out of one community's response to dealing with a tragic event, which instead of tearing them apart, became a beautiful, unifying free gift for all? A space where there is unconditional love and of service to others. What if these streets were so transformational that they could take away physical, psychological, emotional pain temporarily and transform that into joy? What if the carnival arts were such a powerful therapeutic force for healing, its feel-good factor lasted up to 363 days a year? And what if that little angry artist who first discovered her love of costume and performance whilst at school, what if she had her confidence restored so much so through the carnival arts that she became one of the first girl DJs at Carnival? And that's me with my, thank you, that's me with my homemade t-shirt around the corner from this very venue. And 33 years on, I'm still doing the static sound system of Carnival. And what if I, the same girl, Linett Kamala, hadn't been given that first opportunity on Children's Day to perform? Would I have gone on to, as I have done now, to become part of the amazing team that helps to run the Notting Hill Carnival as one of its directors and part of this incredible wider community of people? So what if you, as adults, stopped doing all those things that you love, that gave you life? What if you stopped all your artistic and creative things? And if you were left feeling disconnected from others? How remarkable would it be if you could fully enjoy life again, have that zest for life reignited through the carnival arts? How uplifting would it be to know that you are connected to all of those past carnivalists, too many to mention, who dedicated their life to this art form? And what if Ruan Luslet had listened to her husband, gone back to sleep, and hadn't acted on her dream? So don't give up on your dreams. Ignite your passion. And if a whole community can heal from unspeakable pain, how might we heal? I think that's an idea worth sharing, but don't take my word for it. Come and experience it for yourself. Thank you.